There is nothing wrong with your internet. Do not attempt to adjust your settings. We are controlling the podcast. We control the squealing and the screams. We can make your heart flutter, your eyes blur from tears, or sharpen your mind to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit back. We are in control of what you hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your settings. You are about to experience the awe and mystery known as the female mind. You are now entering the Fangirl Zone. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fangirl Zone. I am Sean, Fangirl S, and joining me for a very special episode of SyFy Talk is none other than Mr. Brandon Scott from Channel Zero. Hello and thank you and welcome.
Hello, so glad to be here. So glad to be here.
We have a true thespian coming over here to the Fangirl Zone right now.
I'm here. I have arrived.
You do a little bit of everything, which is just amazing. So first I want to ask, how did you even get started in the business?
How did I get started? I'm from Alabama, went to NYU. At NYU, started, I guess, just doing training, and then how did I get started? That's a good question. I got lucky. I got a cool agent because I didn't get a job, and the casting director recommended me for an agent, and just my team has been really awesome, and started doing commercials, and I was able to support the bills, and then booked some TV shows here and there, and then I think one of them moved up to Los Angeles and did Grey's Anatomy, and then that kind of like started pushing things in a certain direction, and since then, I mean, I've been not only fortunate enough to do a whole bunch of random stuff, which is awesome because I feel like I really enjoy any challenge, and I like to be a versatile entertainer. Let's say that. So, but yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but
well, we get to see you on screen, and then we get to hear you a lot more often than I think most people realize because you do voice acting for animation and some for video games. And
hell yeah.
It just seems like that would be really fun, but how do you get in the mindset for all of these different acting roles, whether it's actually on screen or just portraying everything through your voice?
Yeah, I'm still figuring some of that out. I think the animation, it's just happening to a playful child, which, I mean, growing up, I did a lot of imagining and creating random characters. And so some of them work, which is awesome, just to kind of jump into some of the animation stuff. I just pull on characters who I created a long time ago, and fortunately some of them work. And then other stuff, it's just, I think each project, I'm still figuring out how to jump into things, but each project kind of dictates, okay, what needs to happen? Do I need to be in my body a bit more? Do I need to be a bit more in my voice? Do I need to be a bit more in like some understanding of this character beyond myself? And just I can throw a lot of stuff against the wall and see what sticks, and then just freak out in front of the camera and hopefully it works, you know, because it's fun, but it's also it's just kind of like you just hopefully having fun and it works. So,
well, speaking of,
I feel like I'm not answering any of your...
No, you are. Speaking of having to make up some characters, you are back in Channel Zero, Dream Door, and you are up against a very creepy character this time. Not that the Peach family wasn't creepy last time, but what was it like having to play off this contortionist who just is in that creepy mask? I mean, I feel like that was even creepier than Rutger Hauer.
Yeah. Troy James, who plays Purple Jack, he loves what he does. He loves doing these unnatural things that make people's heads explode and also creep them out. So it was kind of, there was very little acting required at times because just from the get-go, Troy would just, you know, he introduces himself and then he contorts into a locker, you know, and so that's who he is. And I remember one of the first times he was in the mask, he then proceeded to do his Troy contortionist stuff, but not just to like show, but just to kind of like get in people's like space to do it, and just he really freaks people out in a good way. And it's, you know, it's all fun. Like he really, I think, enjoys people's reactions to that. So when you have an actor like that, and he's just a lovely and such a like warm-hearted spirit, it's just, again, no acting required. You just get on set, let Troy freak you out. That's all you do. just stand there and let him spider crawl to you. It's like phenomenally, like supernaturally fast that he does. And all these things he does like in camera, you know, in real time. And you'd be surprised at how fast he can chase after you with that spider crawl, or how high he could jump, or some weird way in which his arm goes around his head. Next thing you know, it's the knife is like, you know, next to you. All you gotta do is just stand there and react to it.
So a lot of those were actual reactions, not just acting, huh?
Well, for the most part. I mean, every now and then I have to look up at like an X on the you know, the apple on an Apple box because of however it was framed. But it was much better to have Troy there because what he does is just out of this world. And there's a great, I don't know if you've seen his Steve Harvey. He did the like America's Got Talent or one of those things. And just like the reactions that people naturally have while watching him do this thing in person, that's just what we were doing on set all the time.
Did you do your own stunts in this one?
I did do my own stunts. Except for maybe one stunt I didn't do. I wanted to do that stunt, but actually stunt double devolved. So like there's a flip at some point when being chased by Pretzel Jack. He did that one, but everything else, well, not the car stunt. Okay, now I feel like, okay, we take it back. I did a lot of stunts. I didn't do the car stunt. I did all the swimming stunts, and I did some like other like fighting and jumping and things like that. But I was trying to get my Tom Cruise on as much as I could.
As long as you don't break anything.
Exactly. Just trust me. I will break something and then ruin production. So there were times where they're like, you know what, man, maybe not this one. But whenever it was one that I think everyone felt very comfortable with me doing, I did. And it was a lot. I'm a martial artist, so I love doing stuff like that. And this season was, I mean, we all got to do so many things, but I at times got to do so many things that are like a dream for, I think, any actor, with Stephen especially, which is really cool.
Now, this was repeating for you to get back into Channel Zero. Was that something that was planned, or just it was happenstance?
You know, it just happens. It was happenstance because I think they make an effort to find a new cast every time, and I had heard that they couldn't find just the right person for this role, and so at one point the showrunner hit me up and said, "Do you mind auditioning for it?" And I was like, I had such a great experience on Channel Zero. I was like, sure, yeah, whatever. Like, whatever it is, I don't even need to read it. I'm there. And then I read it and fell in love with it even more. And I was like, I will fight for this role. I'll audition as many times as you need me to. And, but it just, there's something about the character that just, this is the type of role that I'm always attracted to. He's like, capable, but like flawed, but trying to do the best they can, but like troubled and relationship, but then you also throw in stunts and you throw in some monsters and stuff. It was just like, yeah, sign me up. And so just that happenstance, I think, or synchronicity somehow all lined up. And luckily I was able to play the part.
Well, I'm definitely glad you're back, because this one was super creepy. And so I don't spoil anything. We're going to just say the level of creepiness just kind of keeps notching up. And then there's a couple of just really weird parts, but very happy you're in it.
Thank you. I was glad to be back. And I just love how every season is so different in terms of tone or even style, like shooting style. And just, like, I felt like Butcher's Block was very David Lynchian, surreal dreamscape, like dream logic going on. And then I feel like Dream Door. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. You're way ahead of me if you've seen all of them. But I remember when we were shooting it, I just kept saying, like, indie popcorn blockbuster, whatever that means, like indie horror blockbuster. Because I feel like the tone that's it is just, it's fun, it's scary, it's creepy, but it's something that I just wish almost could be seen in a movie theater, because I would love to see the audience's reaction through the season collectively. And, but maybe I'll have a viewing party.
I'd agree that would be amazing up on the big screen, because some of these things had me kind of worried about sleeping at night, to be honest.
Really? Oh, good. How did you watch it? Did you watch it on a laptop, or did you watch it on?
Yeah, I watched it on my desktop, but my husband happened to be out of town. I'm like, this was a bad idea.
Did you watch it with headphones on?
I did. Even worse idea.
That's the worst. Sound tape is so amazing. It's like, yeah, oh my goodness, I'm right. You left it all.
I know you have an album dropping too, and you go under the name Icarus. Do you want to talk about that for a moment?
Sure, yeah. So I've always done music, and so me and I went to college with Malcolm Barrett, Rufus from Timeless, and we then just got together and started creating some music. And so Icarus comes from because I've always been attracted to like Greek mythology, and I was always into the idea of. I'm from Alabama, and just the idea of me going into theater was. I was very supported by my family, but a lot of people in the community were kind of like, "What are you doing?" And so I've always had this dichotomy of like Daedalus is the father who's very much like when they escape from Crete in the Minotaur, Daedalus is like fly low, don't fly too high. And so there was this side of me that was like, oh, maybe I should do this. I should do something with security, and I should not follow this dream. And then there's the Icarus part that's like, yo, fly, man, just fly. And like, even if it doesn't happen, if your wings get burned or whatnot, at least you saw the sun. And so that was something that I feel like I have two parts of me. Sometimes I'm like very much the safe person, and then sometimes I'm like, you know what, man, just fly. So that's where it started with Icarus v. Daedalus, which V stood for versus, almost like me trying to figure out like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to pursue this dream? Am I going to do the secure thing? And then I would go by IVD, and then it got shortened to Icarus V by my friend, and then now it's just like Icarus. And where Icarus comes from.
Oh, that's like exciting. Like I said, you've done everything. What's the next thing that you are ready to do? The next step?
I'm gonna run for the presidency. Nah. I'm starting to write. I really am hungry to see some cool fantasy that me and some of my friends always dream up, and that we have some ideas of like where we want to see that fantasy go. So I'm trying to write some stuff in that world, and so that's the next thing. Probably writing, and then eventually, I don't know, maybe directing, and then sometimes I look at Elon Musk and I'm like, man, I would love to go into rocket science. So I don't know. I'm curious about a lot of things, and hopefully blessed with a long enough life to where I can explore a lot of things, because it's just, I love learning, and there's just so many things that I want to do, is whether I have time to do them all and can do them well.
Wow. You're going to have a lot on your plate, because I somehow see you doing all of this very soon.
I always have a lot on. Maybe I need to write a fantasy story about a rocket scientist who runs for the president. Maybe then I can get all that wrapped into one project and then boom.
Well, there you go. Everybody needs to follow you to watch for you doing this incredible, crazy movie that I'm sure would come up. Or possibly you could put it on SyFy as a series. You know, who knows?
Yeah. This is a good one right there. Don't take that idea though.
No, but we'll be sure to
take
follow.
That idea.
We'll be sure to follow you though. That's awesome.
Okay,
so
cool. Yeah, and please check out the album when we're about to release the video, and yeah, if you like, I mean, it's a Halloween themed album. I'm the worst at pitching what it is, but it's like a fun house. It's like fun. It's scary, but you can rock out to it. You can nod to it, and so I just feel like October is like a fun month for just Channel Zero and this Funhouse album with my band. But there's something else perfect about. I guess it's Halloween. It's a time of like revelry and just costumes and having fun and having a good time.
This is like my favorite holiday, so I'm right there with you.
What are you gonna be for Halloween?
I'm going to be laid up because of surgery, but I am decorating my house, and we'll see how many kids make it past the not so great candy bowl to the much better candy, which is going to be backed by the creepy, scary nuns in the black light. So we'll see what happens.
Are you going to scare some kids?
I did last year with my It setup, so I think doing something from the nun, yeah, they may not make it to the actual chocolate. and they'll just take all the gummy candy at the end.
Good for you. I like that plan. I support that plan.
You save the good stuff for yourself that way. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. I know your time's limited. I'm sorry. Make sure you guys all follow Brandon on Twitter at Brandon O. Scott. Of course, when Channel Zero is on, which will drop at 12:01 on October 27th, you'll be able to see the whole series. You can follow along and tweet along at Channel Zero SyFy, and make sure you tag Brandon when you're tweeting along, because last season he kept throwing tweets to us, which we thank you for. And of course, follow along for the album at the Sin City LP on Twitter. And Brandon, again, thank you so much for joining us and taking your time to talk to us today.
Hey, Sean, so such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.